everybody, so new review today. We're finally talking about part 2 of season 5 of Lucifer on Netflix. It's been a long time since we got the first part of season 5. Thankfully, part 2 picks up where we left off in part 1 when it comes to the big battle between Lucifer, Michael, Amenadiel, and Maze, and then God himself shows up. Then all of the fun stuff can begin. I actually really liked that they broke up the season into 2 parts because I did really enjoy part 1, but I also enjoyed part 2 a lot as well, but for different reasons because I think that part 2 has a different feel to it altogether. Of course, we still have all the wide variety of fun and interesting cases in each episode that are extremely entertaining, which I'll dive into more in a little bit, but there's a lot of heavy dramatic elements in part 2 as well. Many of the various arcs that we got in part 1 of season 5 come to their natural conclusions, but we also get some really great new ones as well, especially when it comes to Lucifer's character, as we delve a bit more into his relationship with Chloe, but also the strained relationship between him and his father, because of course, Lucifer is not very excited to see his dad come back into the picture. I absolutely love the casting choice to have Dennis Haysbert portray God in this universe. I think he's a great choice for the role. He's so perfect portraying this serious figure, but he can also pull off being very fun and charismatic when the time calls for it as well, especially in the earlier on episodes in the season as he's actually accompanying Lucifer and Chloe on cases and kind of just being like moral support along the way. I thought that was really charming. For me, at least, a lot of the early on humor between God and Lucifer is some of the best parts, and also just the surreal nature of seeing all these people talk to God, especially the added bonus that it's kind of awkward between him and Dan, of course, because Dan actually had a relationship with Charlotte, so that's some of the fun, awkward developments that we get to see in the early half of the season as Dan's paranoid because God may be a little bit angry at him for dating his ex-wife. In part 2 of the season, I figure we get a little bit more of the will they, won't they when it comes to the relationship between Lucifer and Chloe, especially with the way that we left things off. It was so close. Lucifer was so close to saying that he loved Chloe, and then time froze around him. But the relationship does continue to be put to the test in these 8 episodes, especially with Lucifer, as he's still being emotionally distant to everyone, especially Chloe. Even though they still go on cases together, you can definitely feel that romantic tension there. Chloe doesn't know what Lucifer really wants, and I don't think Lucifer really knows what he wants either. I think it's always been tough kind of seeing that roller coaster throughout the seasons when it comes to the relationship. Like I said, it's a will they, won't they kind of situation. I will say though, part 2 is kind of like the biggest test they've had when it comes to if they're really going to stick together in a relationship. Especially in those last few episodes, you can really see the final conclusions. I'm at least satisfied with where they leave off the relationship by the end of this season leading into next season. Between the stuff with Chloe and also the stuff between Lucifer and his dad, I was actually very impressed with the emotional growth of Lucifer in these few episodes, which does seem fitting with the fact that he is trying to become God now that God is actually going into retirement. That whole storyline involving God going into retirement, so someone has to step up and be the new God, and they kind of campaign to be the new God, I think that was my favorite among all of the different storylines. But I also just had a lot of fun with all the different cases, the mysteries of the week, if you will. That's some of the stuff that I like just because of the crime procedural elements. You can tell they had a lot of fun crafting these fun mysteries. You have a mini golf rivalry, boxers, and also my personal favorite of all the different mysteries is the musical episode. Yes, we get an entire episode that's dedicated to musical numbers, and I think that was really entertaining. If you're a fan of musicals, that's probably going to be your favorite episode, but if you're not, it may bug you a little bit. But I had a lot of fun with that episode, just seeing all the different fun dance routines, the choreography. Pretty much every character involved actually has a musical number, and I think that was really great. I thought it was very nice to see some of the other characters in the series to get some moments to shine in part 2. Some of them actually get entire storylines dedicated to them in the episodes, whether it be Linda, Dan, Mazikeen, or Ella. I think my personal favorite among all of them is probably Mazikeen's stuff. I thought it was great seeing her explore the avenues when it comes to wanting a soul, but she's also struggling when it comes to the stuff that comes with having a soul, when it comes to like having empathy and all those other things. But Linda was probably one of my favorites as well, as she kind of has that continuation from part 1 into part 2, and it had a really sweet conclusion. Dan, on the other hand, I think that his episode that's all centered around him is probably my least favorite among these batch of new episodes. For the most part, it felt kind of fillery. Like, it wasn't bad or anything, but like I could have went without it and probably not changed my experience whatsoever. I feel like Dan's best episode is probably the last episode before the finale. I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but it was very emotional. It was a really great performance, and also just a very shocking episode all around. It's honestly probably one of the saddest episodes of Lucifer as an entire series, in my opinion. Something that really caught me off guard about part 2 comparing it to part 1 is the fact that Michael's really not in part 2 all that much, even though he's very prominent in the marketing. He's in the very first episode, and they have that awkward family dinner, and then he kind of just pieces out until the last 2 or 3 episodes, which was kind of a surprise to me because I thought he was going to be a big player in the entire season. Because with that whole storyline when it comes to God retiring and people are stepping up to try and take his place, I would have liked to have seen more of Michael's plan and his scheming, but we don't get a whole lot of it until the very end with that final confrontation. I did think their final confrontation was awesome though, don't get me wrong. I just would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Michael and his motivations and how he felt about everything going on. But I mean, I get it. There's so many characters in this show that you can't focus on everybody all at once, so I guess Michael kind of got put on the back burner as he was scheming. I don't want to give anything away about the finale because I want you guys to watch it and then let me know your thoughts about it, but I think it's a pretty interesting finale with the way that they leave things off in season 5 and set stuff up for season 6. I think that season 6 is going to be a very interesting conclusion to the series. Of course, it is kind of sad that season 6 is the final season of Lucifer. I mean, we've come a long way since it got canceled on Fox and now it's been picked up by Netflix, so at least we got a few more seasons out of this show. But now you've heard my thoughts on Lucifer Season 5 Part 2 or Part B, whichever term you want to use. Let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think of the series when you get a chance to check it out? It's out on Netflix now if you want to start watching it at this very moment. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you like this part more than Part 1? Did you like Part 1 more than Part 2? And also be sure to share your thoughts on the developments that happened in Season 5, and also if you have some theories for Season 6, let's hear those as well, because I love talking about all things movies and TV with you guys on the channel, and Lucifer is one of my favorite shows on TV right now, or I guess I should say streaming, and it's just a lot of fun theorizing with you guys and talking about stuff with fellow Lucifer fans. Thank you as always for checking my reviews, though. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like it, the subscribe button, we'll keep movie reviews, show actions, unboxings, and more on the channel. But next time, I'll see you guys later.